Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Debe Islamic Association's Ramadan reminders. This year we'll be looking at the explanation of chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, Surah Baqarah, the chapter of the cow. This year's series is Allah's knowledge, which is the second major theme in this chapter, and this follows last year's series, which was based on the first major theme, faith versus disbelief, which you can find as a link in the description down below if you'd like to access such. Today we'll be looking at ayahs 258 to 260. Since this is the middle 10 days of Ramadan, the days of forgiveness, let's recite the recommended dua for such. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbi wa atubu ilayh. I ask forgiveness of my sins from Allah, who is my Lord, and I turn towards Him.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال أنا أحيي وأميت قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأت بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على أروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت؟ قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. وإذ قال إبراهيم رب أرني كيف تحيي الموتى قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى ولكن ليطمئن قلبي قال فخذ 4 من الطير فصرهن إليك ثم اجعل على كل جبل منهن جزءا ثم ادعهن يأتينك سعيا واعلم أن الله عزيز حكيم.
The first objective that we will discuss today in Ruku 35 deals with confrontation of Ibrahim alayhi salam and King Nimrod. You can do some further research in page 35 of volume 2 of the text. And this deals with the sun rising in the west. So in ayah 258, Allah speaks about the debate between Ibrahim alayhi salam and King Nimrod. Let's recall that the kings who rule the eastern and western parts of the world are 4. 2 are believers, Sulaiman and Dhul Qarnayn, and 2 are unbelievers, Nimrod and Nebuchadnezzar. So Allah reminds us in the ayah about this confrontation between Ibrahim and Nimrod, where he says, Alam tara ila alladhi hajja Ibrahim fi rabbih. Alam tara. Have you not seen? Have you not considered? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking directly to Muhammad. And what is he telling him about? إِلَى الَّذِي حَاجَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Haja means to argue. So have you not seen the one who argued with Ibrahim? And what did he argue about? فِي رَبِّهِ. About his Lord. So this is a reminder where the two of them, Ibrahim alayhi salam and King Nimrod, disputed about the existence of Allah, with Nimrod claiming himself to be God, just as Fir'aun claimed many years later when speaking with Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And Allah showed this in Al-Quran, in Surah Al-Qasas, chapter 28, verse 38, where he quoted Fir'aun as saying, I do not know that you have a God other than me. Both Fir'aun and King Nimrod had similar views. And the ayah goes on, An atahullahul mulk. Merely because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him kingship. So King Nimrod had become arrogant and tyrannical with his ruling for a long time. Nimrod asked Ibrahim alayhi salam to produce proof of Allah's existence. So the ayah continues. So the ayah continues showing what happened in the debate, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذْ قَالَ Ibrahim. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam said, Rabbi alladhi yuhyi. Rabbi, my Lord. Alladhi is the one who yuhyi, is the one who gives life. Wa yumit, and causes death. The proof of Allah's existence is the creations that existed after they were nothing. And those same creations will perish after they had existed. This only proves the existence of the Creator who does what He wills. For these things could not have occurred on their own without a Creator who created them. And the ayah goes on, Kola ana uhyi wa umit. Kola. So he, King Nimrod, is now replying. And what is he saying? Ana uhyi. I am the one who gives life. Wa umit. And cause death. So it is reported that he brought two men forward who deserved execution in front of both him and Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he says, and I would command that one of them be killed, and he would be killed. I would command that the second man be pardoned. This is how I bring life and death. And the ayah goes on, قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ فَأْتِي بِهَا مِنَ الْمَغْرِبِ. قَالَ Ibrahim. So Ibrahim alayhi salam now replies, Fa. So, Inna Allah. Certainly, surely, definitely, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ya'ti bi shamsi. He brings up the shamsun. He brings up the sun. Minal mashriq. From the east. Fa'ti biha minal maghrib. So you, fa'ti, so you biha min al-maghrib. So you bring it up from the west. Nimrod had claimed that he has the power of life and death. But the Prophet countered with this argument. He who is in real control has power even over the sun and the planets. The proof was now established against King Nimrod. فَبُهَتِ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. So the kafir, the disbeliever, was overwhelmed, was astonished. He had nothing to reply to this because he knew his argument was lost. And Ayah concludes, وَاللَّهُ لَا يَعْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Wallahu, so Allah, la ya'di. So Allah does not hidayah, does not give guidance, al-qawm al-zalimin, to the qawm, to the people who are zalimin, the wrongdoers. Allah deprives the unjust people of any valid proof or argument. So they have earned His anger and will suffer severe torment. After the confrontation between Ibrahim salam and the king, we now look at the second objective in this ruku, dealing with the example of bringing the dead back to life. And this was explained in Uzair's story. Similarly to the last ayah where Allah says, Alam tara ila alladhi hanja Ibrahim fi rabbihi. Have you not looked at him who disputed with Ibrahim about his Lord? Allah then connected it to this ayah where He says, أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي قوية على عروشها. أو كالذي مر على قرية. Or is it like the one who passed by a town? وهي قوية, where it looks ruined. على عروشها, ruined up to its roofs. So Allah shows the story of Uzair, where Uzair stood contemplating about what had happened to that city after a great civilization used to inhabit it. He came across this area which had been utterly destroyed. قَالَ أَنَّى يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. قَالَ. So Uzair is now asking, أَنَّى يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ. How will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring this back to life? بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا, after its death. Because of the utter destruction he saw and the unlikelihood, the implausibility of it returning back to its glory days, to what it used to be. So here he's doubting that even Allah could bring it back. It is in such ruin. And the ayah goes on, فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ مِئَةَ عَامٍ ثُمَّ بَعَثَهُ. So أَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ, so Allah caused him to die. And for how long? مِئَةَ عَامٍ, for 100 years he had died. ثُمَّ, and then بَعَثَهُ, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised him up again. The city was rebuilt 70 years after he, Uzair, had died. And the population increased, and Bani Israel had moved back in. Let's recall that Uzair was a direct descendant of Bani Israel. Remember that he had died, So when Allah had resurrected him, his eyes were the first thing to be reformed. And why was that? So that he could witness what Allah does with him, how he brings life back to his body. So Uzair was able to see the rest of his body being reformed. And when his resurrection was complete, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then said to him through the angel, Qala kam labithta. Qala. So the angel is asking him, Come, how long labithta? How long have you remained as such? How long have you remained dead? Qala. So Uzair is now replying and he's saying, Labithtu yawman. I have remained as such for about a day. Aw, or ba'da yawm, or part of a day. Some scholars suggest that he had died in the early part of the day and awoke in the afternoon time, causing him to suggest that this period was within one day, causing him to suggest that he fell asleep just for part of a day, from morning to afternoon. Qala. So the angel now replies to Uzair's suggestion that he had fell asleep for a day or part of a day. And what does he say? He says, Bala. Nay, rather, labithta mi'ata amin. Labithta, you have remained as such for 100 amin, for 100 years. فانظر إلى طعامك وشربك لم يتسنه. فانظر, so look, إلى طعامك, so look at your food, وشربك, and your drink. Lam, they have not يتسنه, they have not changed with time. He had grapes and figs and juice, and he found them just as he left them. Neither did the juice spoil, nor the figs become bitter, nor the grapes rot. Wanzur ila himarika. Wanzur, now look at your himarun. Now look at your donkey. Because just as he had passed away, so too did his donkey. And he now sees how Allah brings it back to life while he was watching. وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. Wa, li is an emphasis. And surely you will see that we have made for you an ayah, a sign, a proof, a miracle. For whom? Linnas, for the people. And this proof, this miracle, was that of the resurrection occurring, showing the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ayah continues, وَانْظُرْ إِلَى الْإِظَامِ كَيْفَ نُنْشِزُهَا. وَانْظُرْ إِلَى إِظَامِ. So now let's look at the bones. Kaifa, how we nunshizuha, how we reassemble them. Remember how we collect them and put them back together. And the ayah goes on, thumma naksuha lahma. Thumma, and then naksuha, then we clothe them, then we cover the bones with lahm, with meat, with flesh. So Uzair observed the bones of his donkey, which were scattered all around him, to his right and left. And Allah sent a wind that collected the bones from all over the area. Allah then brought every bone to its place, until they formed a full donkey made of fleshless bones, the skeleton that is. Allah then covered these bones with flesh. After the flesh, Uzair saw the nerves and then the skin. Allah sent an angel who blew life in the donkey's nostrils, and the donkey started to bray by Allah's leave. All this occurred while Uzair was watching, under his purview. And the ayah now concludes where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ قَالَ أَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. فَلَمَّا, so when it تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ, so when it became clear to him, قَالَ, Uzair said, أَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ, I know that Allah is ala kulli shay'in qadir. I know that Allah has power and is able to do all things. Therefore I, Uzair, am the most knowledgeable in this matter among the people of my time. I am most aware of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he saw the destruction that Nebuchadnezzar had created on this town and couldn't believe that anybody could bring it back. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has power over all things. And our final objective in Ruku 35, after dealing with the confrontation and the example, was in Ayah 260, where Ibrahim alayhi salam's question of life after death to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was to clarify his doubts. So here's the Ibrahim's question of life after death. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَ. وَإِذْ, and when, قَالَ Ibrahim, and when Ibrahim said, Rabbi, my Lord, Arini kaifa tuhi, my Lord, show me how you give life, al-maut, to the dead. Qala awalam tu'min, and Allah replied, have you not believed? Do you not have iman? The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, we are more liable to be in doubt in terms of our iman than Ibrahim alayhi salam. Qala, so Ibrahim alayhi salam is replying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he says, Bala, yes, rather, walakin li yatma'inna qalbi, yes, but I ask only that my heart, qalbi, be satisfied. Ibrahim said, yes, I believe, but I ask in order to make my faith stronger. Qala, so Allah told him, فَقُلْ أَرْبَعَةً مِّنَ الطَّيْرِ فَصُرْهُنَّ إِلَيْكَ. So take 4 birds and cause them to incline towards you. Therefore Ibrahim caught 4 birds, slaughtered them, removed the feathers, tore the birds to pieces, and mixed the pieces together. He kept the heads in his hand. Thumma, then, after slaughtering them, Ja'ala ala kulli jabalin, he put a portion of each of these onto a separate hill. And then he called them. What did he see? They will come flying to you in haste. So Ibrahim witnessed the feathers, the blood, and the flesh of these birds flying to each other until every bird came back to life and came walking at a fast pace towards him. Each bird came back for their heads, and he gave them the wrong heads, and they refused. When they accepted the right head, Allah made them whole again by His leave. And the ayah concludes, وَأْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. وَأْلَمُوا, and know that Allah is Aziz. He is exalted in might, and He is Al-Hakim. He is the most wise. So this clarified the doubts that attack the heart, the waswasa, the whispers of shaitan. We have now come to the end of part 14, series of Allah's knowledge, where we looked at the confrontation of Ibrahim and Nimrod with regards to the sun rising in the west. And also we looked at the example of bringing dead to life with respect to Uzair's story and Ibrahim alayhi salam's question of life after death, clearing up the doubts. So we have completed Ruku 35. So in part 15, we look at a review of these major points. We now end with the recommended dua. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. Our Lord, accept this service from us, for indeed you are all hearing, all knowing. Assalamu alaikum